She walked through the long corridor of the colony ship, her steps soft against the metal floor. The lights above flickered, not broken, but tired like the rest of the ship. Outside the wide glass windows, stars stretched forever, bright points in the Black Sea. They looked calm, but inside her heart there was no calm. She was hungry, yet she did not trust the food the humans carried. On her world, food was always tested, always controlled. Here on this human ship, meals were small things in plastic boxes, strange smells, strange shapes, and now in her hand, she held a thing they called a Frankfurter. It looked simple, a long roll of meat and soft bread. Humans ate it without fear, smiling, laughing as if it was nothing, but to her eyes it was suspicious. Why would such weak-looking beings eat such careless food in the middle of the stars? Why would they offer it to her with such confidence? The human who gave it to her stood near the window. His name was Daniel, tall, quiet, his eyes calm in a way that annoyed her. He acted as if he knew something she did not. He said nothing now, only waited, his arms crossed as he looked at the stars. She frowned. Her people always said humans were simple. They were too weak, too emotional, too messy. They were not strong like the warriors of her race, not wise like the elders, but here in the deep of space, she had begun to notice something different. Humans were not afraid, not even when the unknown was near. The Frankfurter grew heavier in her hand. She sniffed it. The smell was strange but warm. It did not look dangerous, but that was the problem. Nothing dangerous ever looked dangerous at first. She thought, maybe it is a trap. Maybe this is how humans fight. They smile, they share food, and then they strike. She remembered the whispers she heard in the lower decks. Some alien said humans were hiding something. Their food was not just food. Their games were not just games. Their laughter was not just laughter. Everything about them had a second meaning. The ship hummed softly around her. She sat on a bench near the window. Still staring at the thing in her hand, Daniel finally spoke, his voice quiet. "You don't have to eat it," he said. "But maybe you should." His words only made her more suspicious. Why would he say that? What was he trying to make her believe? She narrowed her eyes at him. "Why give this to me?" she asked. "What is inside it?" he smiled, but did not answer her question. Instead, he said, "Sometimes the smallest things matter most." Then he turned back to the stars as if he had already forgotten about her. Her chest tightened. That was not the answer she wanted. She wanted clear truth. She wanted to know if this food would harm her. But humans were never clear. They spoke in half-truths. They hid meaning inside smiles and strange jokes. Her stomach growled, reminding her she had not eaten in 2 days. She looked at the Frankfurter again. Simple meat, simple bread, simple shape. But nothing in this endless galaxy was ever simple. She thought, maybe he wants me to trust him. Maybe this is his test. The stars outside looked sharp and cold, but inside the ship everything felt warm. Too warm. She held the Frankfurter tighter. She could almost feel something humming inside it. Or maybe that was only her fear. A memory came to her mind of her teacher long ago, who said, "Beware of humans, they are soft, but they are not weak. They hide their power in ways you cannot see. Their strength is never where you expect it." At that moment, she began to wonder if the teacher was right. Daniel spoke again, this time softer. "Eat or don't eat, the choice is yours, but know this. Nothing on this ship is by chance." Her heart beat faster. She stared at him, but he did not look back. He only watched the stars. She wanted to throw the Frankfurter away, but her hand would not move. Something inside her whispered that this small thing was more than food. It was a door once opened she could never close again. The hum of the ship grew louder, or maybe it was only her own heartbeat. Around her, other crew members walked, laughed, spoke. They acted as if nothing was strange. But she knew better. She felt it in her bones. This ship was full of secrets, and this human food was one of them. She raised the Frankfurter closer to her mouth. Her breath slowed, her eyes locked on the human's calm face. If she ate it, she might learn the truth, or she might regret it forever. And in that moment, as the stars glowed brighter beyond the window, she realized one thing. Whatever happened next, nothing would be the same. The Frankfurter still rested in her hand, warm and heavy. Her fingers trembled as she stared at it. The human called Daniel said nothing more, but his silence was louder than words. It was the silence of someone who already knew what would happen. She felt anger. Why should she trust him? Why should she trust humans at all? They were new to the stars. Their ship small, their history short. Yet everywhere she went, their presence grew stronger. They did not conquer with weapons alone, they conquered with something stranger. She bit her lip, staring at Daniel. His calm face carried no fear. It was as if he believed she could not refuse, and that thought made her uneasy. She hated the feeling of being predicted, as if she were only walking on a path someone else had already planned. Her stomach growled again, her hunger made her weak, and weakness was dangerous. On her homeworld, weakness meant death. Her people believed in control. They believed in strength, yet here she was, in the middle of the stars, staring at a piece of human food, afraid of it like it was a weapon. Finally, she lifted the Frankfurter to her mouth. Daniel's eyes flickered, but he said nothing. She took a small bite. The bread was soft, the meat salty, warm, and rich. For a moment she felt nothing. She chewed, swallowed, waiting for poison or sickness, waiting for her body to burn. Instead, warmth spread through her chest, slow but steady. It was not pain. It was not sickness. It was something else. Her breath quickened, her eyes widened. The stars outside looked sharper, brighter. She could hear the soft hum of the engines as if they were singing. She could even hear the distant footsteps of crew on another deck. She froze. Her hands shook. Her people were strong. But never had she felt this, not from food, not from any drink or weapon. She turned to Daniel, eyes wide. "What did you do?" she whispered. Daniel's lips curved in a small smile. Not cruel, but knowing. "I told you," he said. "Sometimes the smallest things matter most." She stood quickly, anger burning inside her. "You tricked me," she hissed. Her voice echoed in the empty corridor. "You put something inside this. Tell me what it is." He shook his head. "It is nothing more than a Frankfurter," he said softly. "Meat, bread, and something extra, something humans keep hidden." Her heart pounded. She wanted to hit him, to throw the food at his feet, but another wave of energy rushed through her body. Stronger this time, her skin tingled. Her muscles felt alive. As if lightning lived under her flesh, she gasped, almost stumbling. Daniel stepped closer, his eyes calm but sharp. "Now you see," he whispered. "Now you understand why others fear us. Humans are not strong because of size, not strong because of history. We are strong because we find power in places no one looks." She shook her head, trying to resist the strange rush inside her. "Food should not do this," she said. "This is wrong." "Wrong," Daniel repeated. "Or unexpected. The galaxy thinks humans are weak. That is what makes us dangerous. We hide strength in the ordinary." She wanted to deny his words, but the proof was in her body. Her vision was sharper, her hearing stronger. She felt like she could lift the ship with her bare hands. The Frankfurter, a simple human food, had changed her. She sat again, clutching her knees, breathing hard. "Why give this to me?" she asked, her voice softer now. "Why not keep this secret for yourself?" Daniel leaned against the wall, his gaze never leaving the stars. "Because one day, you will need it," he said. "One day, you will stand between life and death, and you will remember this moment. You will remember that humans gave you something when no one else would." Her chest tightened. His words carried weight she did not want. But deep inside, she knew he was right. This gift was not a trap, not poison. It was something else. Something that tied her to him, to his people. The lights above flickered again. The engines groaned. A voice on the intercom spoke, warning of strange signals near the ship. Her heart raced. She felt the energy still flowing through her. Sharper, brighter. The timing felt too perfect. Too planned. She looked at Daniel again, his face calm, his eyes unshaken. "You knew," she whispered. "You gave me this because you knew." Daniel's smile grew faint. His silence was the answer. She turned back to the Frankfurter, staring at what little remained. In her hand was not just food, it was power. It was a gift she had not asked for, but one she could not return. And as the alarms began to echo through the ship, she realized something terrifying. The gift was not unlikely at all, it was necessary. The alarms grew louder. Red lights flashed across the corridor. She held the half-eaten Frankfurter in her hand, her heart racing. The taste of salt and warmth still lingered on her tongue. But now something else stirred inside her, something she had never felt before. Her body trembled, not from fear but from strange power. Her muscles felt alive, as if lightning pulsed inside them. Her vision reached farther than ever. She could see the numbers blinking on a console far across the hall. Tiny numbers no one else could notice. She could even hear the soft click of a lock on the door at the end of the deck. She gasped. Her people were strong, yes, but this was different. This was sharper, brighter, dangerous. She turned to Daniel, his calm face glowing red under the alarm lights. "What is happening to me?" she whispered. "What did you do?" Daniel did not answer at once. He only studied her. His silence weighed heavy. Finally he spoke, his voice steady. "It is not me," he said. "It is you." The Frankfurter only woke what was already there. Her eyes widened.
"Lies," she hissed. "My people never feel this way."
"Nothing like this." He shook his head, his lips curling into the smallest smile. "That is what you believe. That is what they want you to believe. But humans learn to see what others cannot. We take what is small and make it powerful." Before she could argue, the ship shook violently. Metal groaned, lights flickered. The voice of the captain boomed over the intercom. "All crew to defense stations. Hostile craft approaching." Her breath caught, fear spread through the crew like fire. Men and women ran past, shouting, clutching weapons. The smell of sweat and metal filled the air. Yet inside her chest there was no fear. There was only heat, only fire. Her hands clenched into fists without her command. Daniel stepped closer, his eyes locked on hers. "You feel it, don't you?" he said. "The strength, the clarity, the hunger to fight." She swallowed hard. Her mind screamed at her to resist, to push it down, but her body would not obey. It wanted to move, to strike, to protect. She felt like a weapon forged from nothing. She stumbled back, pressing against the wall. "This is not me," she whispered. "This cannot be me." Daniel's voice grew quiet, almost kind. "It is you," he said. "You just never tasted it before. The galaxy hides its truths. Humans only help you see them." The ship shook again, harder this time. The floor trembled under her feet. Sirens wailed. Soldiers rushed toward the armory. The woman looked at them, then at her shaking hands. A strange thought crawled into her mind. A thought she feared: I could fight better than all of them. Her breath quickened. She wanted to deny it. But the truth was clear. The Frankfurter had changed her. And the change was not fading. It was growing stronger with each passing second. Daniel leaned close, whispering so no one else could hear. "The first bite is always the hardest," he said. "After that, the world never looks the same." She glared at him. Her chest heaved with anger and fear. "You tricked me," she said again, but her words sounded weak. For deep inside, she knew he had not tricked her. He had revealed her. Suddenly, a blast shook the deck. The ship tilted, crew members fell to the floor. Sparks rained from the ceiling, smoke filled the air. Panic spread. Someone shouted, "They're boarding!" "They're coming inside." Her eyes widened. She felt the fire in her chest roar like a beast. Her body moved before her mind agreed. She pulled one of the fallen soldiers to safety with ease. Her arm felt like iron. The soldier looked up at her in shock, whispering, How did you—" She did not answer. She could not. Her heart was racing, her veins burning with power. Daniel stepped forward, calm even as chaos grew around them. He placed a hand on her shoulder, firm but steady. "Now you understand," he said. "Now you know why I gave you the Frankfurter." She shook her head. Her eyes filled with confusion. "No," she whispered. "I don't understand anything." "Then you will," he replied. "Sooner than you think." Another blast shook the ship, louder, closer. The walls groaned. Doors locked down, shadows moved in the smoke, alien shapes forcing their way inside. The crew raised weapons, shouts filling the air. The woman stood frozen for a moment, torn between fear and fire. But the energy inside her screamed for release. Her body begged to fight. To protect, to destroy. She clenched her fists, the strength flooding through her veins. Daniel's voice reached her one last time. Calm, sharp, almost like prophecy. "The first bite gave you power. The next fight will show you why." And as the enemy stormed through the broken door, she realized her life had already changed forever. The smoke filled the corridor. Shadows of the enemy moved through the broken door. Their weapons glowed with blue fire. Crew members shouted, trying to hold their ground. But fear made their hands shake. She stood frozen, her fists tight, the strange power racing inside her. Her heart pounded like a drum. Daniel stayed at her side, calm as ever. His eyes burned with something sharper than fear, something deeper than courage. The first enemy soldier charged, its claws raised. She moved before she even thought. Her hand shot forward, striking the creature's chest. It flew back into the wall with a crash. The crew gasped, their eyes wide. They had seen her fight before, but never like this. Her breath came fast. She stared at her hands. "This is impossible," she whispered. But Daniel's voice was steady. "It is not impossible," he said. "It is the truth." Another wave of enemies rushed in. She fought them without hesitation. Each move felt natural, each strike stronger than steel. When it was over, bodies lay on the floor, and the crew stared in silence. Her chest heaved. Her mind burned with questions. She turned to Daniel, grabbing his arm. "What did you do to me?" she demanded. "What is this Frankfurter really?" Daniel did not pull away. He looked into her eyes, unblinking. "I told you," he said. "It is just food, but food made by humans, and humans never create something without meaning." She shook her head. "No, this is not normal food. This is something else. Something dangerous." Daniel sighed, his gaze turning to the stars beyond the window. "You want the truth," he said softly. "Then listen. Humans are different from what the galaxy believes. They see us as weak, fragile, soft. But weakness is only the mask we wear." Her breath caught. His words cut deep. "Mask," she repeated. "What do you mean?" Daniel's voice lowered. Almost a whisper. "The galaxy fears strength they can see. So we give them something else. We give them laughter, clumsy mistakes, simple food, ordinary words. But behind that mask, we hide what we are truly capable of." She stepped back, shaking her head. "That cannot be true," she said. "If you were that strong, the galaxy would already belong to you." Daniel's eyes flashed. "No," he said firmly. "That is why it does not. Because power hidden is more dangerous than power shown. We wait, we learn, we grow. And when the time comes, we use what others ignore." His words made her skin crawl. She thought of the Frankfurter in her stomach. The power in her veins. Her people had always laughed at humans, called them reckless children. But now she saw something else, something terrifying. "You planned this," she whispered. "You gave this food to me for a reason." Daniel nodded once. "Yes," he said, "because you needed to see. You needed to know the truth about us." "And about yourself," she frowned. "Myself," she asked. "What truth is there about me?" Daniel's expression softened. "The Frankfurter is not magic," he said. "It only wakes what is hidden. It pushes you to your limits and shows you what you could be. The power was always inside you. You just never touched it until now." Her knees weakened. She leaned against the wall, her thoughts spinning. If this was true, then everything she believed about her people was a lie. Everything she believed about humans was wrong. The crew whispered around them, pointing, staring. Some looked at her with fear, some with respect. But no one dared come closer. The ship groaned again as more enemy fire hit its side. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The galaxy thinks humans are weak. They do not see the truth. That is why we survive. That is why we win." She looked into his calm eyes. Searching for doubt, there was none. His belief was unshakable. It scared her more than the enemy outside. "What else are you hiding?" she asked, her voice trembling. Daniel gave a faint smile. "More than you can imagine," he said. "The Frankfurter is only one example. To us it is simple food. To you it is transformation. Imagine what else we keep. Imagine what else we hide in plain sight." Her stomach turned. The galaxy laughed at humans, but maybe that laughter was the human's greatest weapon. She realized the terrible truth. Humans were not weak. They were patient. They were dangerous in ways no one understood. The alarms blared again. The captain's voice shouted orders. But her ears only heard Daniel's words. Her eyes fell on the remains of the Frankfurter still lying on the floor. Small, ordinary, harmless in appearance, yet it had changed everything. Her heart raced. She whispered to herself, "If this is what one bite can do, what else are humans hiding?" Daniel's eyes never left her. His voice steady, final. "That is the question the galaxy never asks. And that is why we will always have the advantage." And as another explosion shook the ship, she realized she had stepped into a truth far bigger than herself. A truth that could shake the stars. The ship shook again, harder this time. The lights flickered. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Crew members shouted as the enemy fire grew stronger. The smell of smoke filled the air, sharp and bitter. She clutched the wall to keep her balance. Her heart raced faster than the alarms. The power inside her still burned, wild and alive. Daniel stood near her, calm, steady, as if he had expected this all along. His eyes never left the chaos outside the window. Through the glass she saw them, dark shapes moving in the void. Enemy ships circling like predators, their weapons flashed. Beams of light tearing into the hull. Each strike made the ship groan like a wounded beast. The crew scrambled to their stations. Some carried rifles, others worked at consoles. Their faces pale with fear, yet Daniel moved slowly, as if fear did not touch him. His calmness unsettled her more than the battle itself. She turned to him, her voice sharp. "You knew this was coming." Daniel nodded once. "Yes," he said softly. "I knew something was waiting for us out here." Her hands trembled, not from fear but from the fire inside her veins. "And that is why you gave me the Frankfurter," she said. Daniel's silence was the only answer she needed. Another blast shook the deck. A console exploded in sparks. A soldier screamed as he fell. She rushed forward without thinking, lifting the heavy console off him with ease. The man stared at her with wide eyes, whispering, How did you—" But she had no time to answer. The captain's voice thundered across the intercom. "Enemy boarding crafts detected. All units prepare for close combat." The crew froze, their fear spreading like poison. She felt her chest tighten. The power inside her begged to be released. Her instincts screamed to fight, to protect, to unleash. She had never wanted to battle, but now it felt natural. Her hands itched for action. Daniel stepped closer, his voice steady. "This is the moment," he said. "The danger is here. And now you must choose. Will you run? Or will you fight?" She glared at him. "You made this happen," she said. "You dragged me into this." He shook his head slowly. "No," he replied. "The galaxy dragged us all into this. I only gave you the chance to survive it." The deck shuddered again. The enemy ships latched onto the hull. The sound of claws tearing into metal echoed through the corridors. Shadows moved behind sealed doors. They were coming. The crew lined up with rifles. Hands shaking, eyes wide, some muttered prayers, others cursed. She could hear their hearts pounding in the silence. Her own heart beat louder, but not from fear, from hunger, from fire. Her breath slowed. The memory of her teacher's words returned. "Beware of humans, they are soft, but they are not weak." She looked at Daniel and knew those words were true, and now, because of the Frankfurter, that truth burned inside her as well. The first explosion tore open the outer hatch. Smoke and sparks filled the hall. Enemy soldiers poured in, tall, armored, eyes glowing. Their weapons raised, the crew fired. Their shots wild, desperate. Some enemies fell, but more came. Stronger, faster. Her people would have panicked. But the power inside her would not allow panic. Her legs moved forward before her mind decided. She struck the first enemy with her bare hands, his armor cracked like glass. He fell silent. She turned, swinging again. The fire inside her guided her every move. She was faster than the enemy, stronger than steel. The crew stared, stunned. Their fear turned to hope as they watched her fight. Daniel's eyes never left her, calm, proud. "Now you see," he whispered. "Now you understand why I gave it to you," she gasped. Her chest heaving, sweat rolled down her face. But the power did not fade. It grew sharper, louder. Each strike, each breath, each heartbeat made her stronger. The enemy regrouped, charging again. Their claws scraped the floor, their weapons blazing. But she did not step back. She felt no fear. She welcomed them. Her voice rose, fierce and steady. "If humans hide such power in food, what else do they hide?" she shouted. "What else have you kept from the galaxy?" Daniel smiled faintly, his voice calm even in the chaos. "You will learn," he said. One danger at a time, another wave of enemies entered. The corridor filled with screams, weapons, fire. But her eyes burned with new light. She was no longer a passenger. She was no longer afraid. She was something else. Something born from human secrets. And as the battle raged around her, she understood one truth: danger had come, and she was ready for it. The corridor shook under the weight of the enemy. Their claws scraped the metal floor. Their armored boots pounded like thunder. The crew fired desperately, beams of light cutting through the smoke. Yet for every enemy that fell, two more forced their way inside. She moved through the chaos like a storm. Her fists cracked armor. Her kicks sent creatures flying. Her body no longer felt like her own. It was sharper, faster, stronger. Each strike came without thought, guided by the fire in her blood. The crew gasped each time she struck. They had expected death, but now they saw hope. Their fear turned into shouts, into courage. They rallied behind her, fighting harder, holding the line. Daniel stayed close, calm even in the storm. His eyes followed her every move. "Good," he whispered. "You are learning," she ignored him. Her mind focused only on the fight. An enemy lunged, Its claws reaching for her throat, she ducked, spun, and slammed her elbow into its jaw. The creature collapsed motionless, her breath came hard, sweat dripping down her skin, but the fire inside her only grew stronger. Another explosion rocked the ship. Metal screamed as bulkheads cracked. The lights flickered and died. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Only the glow of weapons and burning consoles lit the battle. In the dark, she moved like lightning. Her fists glowed faintly, energy sparking under her skin. The enemy hissed in confusion, unable to match her speed. She struck them down one after another. The crew shouted her name. Though they barely knew her, they followed her lead. But for every enemy she defeated, more kept coming. The boarding ships clamped tighter to the hull, pouring soldiers into the colony ship. The air grew hot with fire. Heavy with smoke, her lungs burned. Her body strained, yet she refused to stop. Daniel's voice cut through the noise. "Do not hold back," he said. "This is what the Frankfurter unlocked. Use it, trust it, survive." Her anger flared. "This is your doing," she shouted as she struck another enemy. "You changed me. You made me into this." Daniel stepped past her, striking down an enemy soldier with a single precise blow. His movements were not wild, but controlled, elegant, deadly. He turned back to her. His voice calm. "No," he said. "I only gave you the key. You opened the door yourself." His words stung because they felt true. She wanted to blame him, but the power inside her answered only to her. It was her strength now, her fire. The battle raged on. The crew fell back, their weapons running hot. Their voices raw with fear. She roared, surging forward, slamming into the enemy line. The impact shook the floor. The enemy scattered under her fury. For a brief moment, silence fell. The crew looked at her in awe. Even the enemy paused. Staring at the glowing fire in her veins, she stood tall, her chest heaving. Her eyes sharp. She was no longer just a passenger. She was a force, but silence never lasted. The enemy commander stepped forward. Taller, heavier, its armor thick and black. Its eyes glowed red. It raised a massive blade that hummed with deadly energy. The crew fell back in fear. She tightened her fists, the fire inside her roaring. Daniel's voice reached her again, quiet but firm. "This is your test," he said. "Survive this and you will understand." The commander charged. The floor shook under its weight. She rushed forward to meet it. Their clash echoed through the ship. Her fists met the blade, sparks flew. The shockwave knocked crew members off their feet. Her arms burned with pain, but she held firm. Her teeth clenched, her body screaming, yet deep inside, the fire grew brighter. She pushed back step by step. Her roar filled the corridor and the enemy commander staggered. The crew shouted, firing to cover her. Daniel moved with deadly precision, striking down enemies that tried to flank. But all eyes stayed on her. She swung again, her fist slamming into the commander's chest. The armor cracked. She struck again, harder. The blade swung wild, sparks tearing the walls. But she did not stop. Her fists rained down like thunder. Finally, with one last cry, she drove her hand straight through the commander's chest. The creature fell, silent, the blade clattering to the floor. The crew roared in victory. Their fear shattered, she staggered back, her chest heaving, her arms shaking. The fire inside her flickered but did not fade. She had done the impossible. She had defeated the strongest enemy with nothing but her own hands. Daniel stepped forward, his eyes steady. "Now you see," he said softly. "The fight for survival is never about weapons, it is about will. And now you know the will that humans carry." She met his gaze, her body trembling. "This power," she whispered. "It is not natural." Daniel's expression softened. "Perhaps not," he said, "but it is real. And in this galaxy, real is all that matters." Another alarm blared. Warning of more enemies boarding. The battle was not over. But something inside her had changed. She was no longer running. She was no longer doubting, she was ready. The commander's body hit the floor with a heavy thud. Silence followed for only a heartbeat. Then the corridor filled with the sound of crew cheering. Their voices echoed through the ship. A roar of survival, a roar of hope. She stood in the center, her fists still glowing faintly. Her chest rose and fell with sharp breaths. Sweat rolled down her skin, but the fire inside her did not die. It still burned, steady and alive. Daniel walked forward through the smoke. Calm as always, his eyes carried no surprise. "Only certainty, you see now," he said softly. "The galaxy thinks humans are weak, but weakness is only the cover. We let them laugh, we let them doubt. And while they laugh, we prepare." She stared at him. her heart still racing. "This power," she whispered. "It came from you, from your food, from your secrets." Daniel shook his head. "No," he said, "it came from you. The Frankfurter was only the spark. The fire was always inside you. Humans are not gods, we are not magic, we are something simpler. We learn how to use the small things the galaxy ignores." Her breath caught. His words pierced through her doubts. She looked at her hands, trembling. Glowing faintly with power, the crew looked at her too, some with awe, some with fear. They had seen the truth with their own eyes. The alarm still blared, more enemies filled the decks. The fight was not finished, but something had shifted. The crew no longer saw themselves as prey. They saw themselves as survivors, guided by the strange strength of one woman and the calm certainty of one human. The captain's voice echoed over the intercom. "Enemy retreat detected. Their ships are pulling back." Relief spread through the crew. Some wept, others laughed, but she only stood silent, staring at the stars through the shattered glass. Daniel stepped beside her, his arms folded. "They will come again," he said. "They always do." She turned to him, eyes burning. "And when they do, what then?" His lips curved into the smallest smile. "Then we remind them," he said. "Remind them what humans are. Remind them what humans can do." Her voice shook with confusion and wonder. "Why me?" she asked. "Why give me this gift? Why not keep it for yourself?" Daniel's gaze grew distant, as if looking beyond the stars. "Because the galaxy must see it through someone else's eyes," he said. "If a human shows strength, they dismiss it as chance. If another species shows it, they cannot ignore it. You will carry the truth of what we are, and you will tell the story. Whether you wish to or not." Her chest tightened. The truth weighed heavy on her shoulders, but deep inside she knew he was right. She had already been changed. There was no going back. The crew moved around them, repairing damage, pulling bodies from the floor, patching the wounds of the ship. Their eyes often turned back to her, whispering, pointing. She was no longer just another traveler. She was something else, something more. Daniel's voice lowered, only for her to hear. "The Frankfurter was just the beginning," he said. "There are other things, simple things, bread, water, fire, even words. Humans put power in everything we touch. And no one sees it until it is too late." Her skin prickled. Fear and awe twisted together inside her, she whispered. "If this is true, then the galaxy is not ready for you." Daniel's smile grew sharper. "No," he said, "the galaxy is never ready for us. That is why we will always win, outside." The enemy ships vanished into the dark, leaving silence behind. The stars glowed brighter, endless and cold. Yet inside the ship a fire burned, small but unshakable. She felt it in her chest, in her veins, in her mind. She thought of her people, how they mocked humans, how they called them soft and foolish. She thought of the countless species who saw humans as nothing, weak children of a small blue world, and she realized the greatest truth of all. That was exactly what humans wanted them to believe. Her eyes narrowed, her voice soft but certain. "They will never see you coming." Daniel's gaze turned to her, calm and steady. "They never do," he replied. The silence stretched between them, filled with unspoken truths. She had entered the ship as a skeptic, as a stranger, but now she was something else, a witness, a bearer of secrets hidden in plain sight. She looked at the stars once more, the endless dark stretching forever. The galaxy was wide, full of dangers and mysteries. Yet the greatest mystery of all was not in the stars. It was beside her, smiling, quiet, human. And as the crew cheered, as the ship limped forward through the void, one thought echoed in her mind, a thought that would haunt her, guide her, change her forever. If a Frankfurter could do this, what else were humans hiding?